Get ready, Friar Faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Texas Rangers in the first game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Rangers, right-hander Kumar Rocker, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 3:40. A very happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Should be a fun one here in downtown San Diego. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We also hear from today's DH, Trenton Brooks. We hear from new Padres reliever Eduarniel Nunez, and much more to do, including hearing from Padres radio voice Jesse Agler, our keys to the game, and a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 46-40. They enter the day in a 3-way tie for the final wild card spot in the National League. Meanwhile, Rangers enter 43-44. Even at under 500, the Rangers are just 2 games out of a wild card spot in the American League. Well, the Padres, before their off day yesterday, played a doubleheader in Philly on Wednesday. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
In the opening game of the doubleheader on Wednesday, the Padres took advantage of a wild rookie right-hander, Mick Abel. They scored 2 runs in the top of the second on a couple of bases-loaded walks. There were still 3 on base, all loaded up for Manny Machado.
Manny swings, rips it over the head of the third baseman, Sosa, and down the left field line. Diaz has scored. Tatis has scored. Merrill is on his way. There will not be a relay. A 3-run double for Manny Machado. And the Padres get a big hit with runners in scoring position. It is now 5-0.
The Phillies then chipped away. They made it 6-3 heading into the 9th inning. Then they got a run against Robert Suarez to make it 6-4. The Phillies had the tying runs in scoring position. 2 men away in the 9th inning for Kyle Schwarber.
Suarez delivers, and a swing and a miss. Got him to chase a fastball way up at 101. And Suarez comes on to earn the save, his 24th of the season to lead the National League. And the Padres take game 1 of the doubleheader here in Philadelphia by a final of 6-4.
So the Padres won game 1. As far as game 2, Nick Pivetta, or I should say, let me mention this. Nick Pivetta went 6 strong innings for the win in game 1. As far as game 2, the rubber game of the 3-game series in the nightcap, Dylan Cease and Merrill put the Padres ahead.
Tatis at third, nobody out. Here's the 2-0, and Merrill hits a ground ball right side beyond the dive of Stott into right field and a base hit. Tatis trots home, and Jackson Merrill an RBI single to give the Padres an early 1-0 lead.
In the bottom half of the inning, the Phillies answered with Max Kepler.
All that. Yeah. High fly ball to deep right field. Max Kepler got all of that one and gone, a 2-run homer. With 1 swing of the bat, the Phillies have gone ahead of Dylan Cease and the Padres. It is now 2-1.
Brandon Marsh then led off the 5th inning with a solo shot. That made it 3-1 Phillies. Cease got through 6 innings and allowed 4 runs, but that was plenty for the Phillies as Christopher Sanchez pitched 7 strong innings. Final score in game 2 of the doubleheader, the Phillies 4 and the Padres 1. The Padres dropping 2 of 3, and they went 2 of 4 in their 6-game road trip to Philly and Cincinnati. And now the Padres head back home for the start of a 10-game homestand here today. 3 against the Rangers, 4 against Arizona, and then they meet the Phillies again in Petco Park on Friday. So a long 10-game homestand taking us up until the All-Star break. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, after the off day, feels like a good day to reset things and kind of take note of where we are on the calendar. 10 games remaining on the schedule before the All-Star break, all at home, some good opponents coming to town. How do you view this final stretch for the Padres in the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule?
Feels important, doesn't it? And, you know, I don't ever want to overdo anything like that. You know me, I kind of lean on the side of big picture marathon, not a sprint, you know, all those cliches. And I believe that, and I stand by that. But this feels big, you know. I mean, this team is 6 games over 500 right now. If you have a good homestand, you give yourself a nice little cushion going into the All-Star break, some good feelings going into the All-Star break. If it doesn't go well, you could find yourself in a position that you haven't really been in at any point this year. So it feels big. But the caveat there, and the kind of come around the other side of it thing that I would say is that, you know, last year they were right at 500, you know, at the All-Star break, basically. And losing that first game in Cleveland coming out of the break, it was an ugly loss. They were shut out. They struck out a ton. And that, to me, felt like, oh, boy, where's this thing going? And then next thing you know, they went, 42-19 or whatever the rest of the way, and had the best second half in baseball. So, you don't want to be too heavy about it. You don't want to lean too hard on it. But it does feel big, and it's a great opportunity. Maybe that's the right way to look at it.
Yeah.
10 games, some quality teams coming in, but some teams, that the Padres more than stack up against. Go out and take care of your business.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Good opportunity for the Padres to create some momentum heading towards the All-Star break. Let's talk about this Rangers team a little bit. You look at their lineup, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, there are names up and down the lineup that are impressive. But to focus specifically on the starting pitcher today, right-hander Kumar Rocker. It's been up and down in the major league so far. And Jesse, he has a really interesting story. Went to Vanderbilt and then a lot of drama around the draft. What can you tell us about Kumar Rocker and I guess his journey to this point?
Yeah, the Mets drafted him and they could not come to an agreement. So he basically went back in the draft the next year and the Rangers took him. And as is the case for a lot of guys, when they're coming up, some stops and starts, some injuries, some ups and downs and all of those things. We saw him in spring training. He had a tougher night game against the Padres in Peoria, but the stuff is electric. And this is a guy that, you certainly expect at some point in time to have some real deal success in the major leagues. And he was in the rotation at the start of this year. He went down to the minors briefly. In the 3 starts he's made since he's come back from the minors, he's been really, really good. And more interesting than that, he's been really, really different. The fastball usage for Kumar Rocker has been off the charts in those 3 starts as compared to what he was doing earlier. So that'll be something that Tony and I are kind of tracking during the game today. And is he continuing to be as heavy on the fastball as he has the last 3 games that he's been out there? And if so, how do the Padres respond to that?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Randy Vasquez on the other side of this pitching matchup today for the Padres. I'll allow you and Tony to talk about that a little bit later. We'll focus on Randy a little bit later as well. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. Should be a very fun 4th of July here in downtown San Diego. Happy 4th of July to you, and we'll talk to you and Tony coming up at 3:30. Thanks so much.
To you as well, Sam. Thank you.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. First pitch is coming up at 3:40 here in downtown San Diego. Again, Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Rangers. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres here today. Should be a fun one. Again, the Padres beginning a 10-game homestand. That is a big-time homestand for the Padres. I think it's safe to say they have not played their best baseball when you zoom out at the last month or two, but certainly a nice opportunity to finish up this first half of the season here in this building, a building where we see a ton of sold-out crowds, and it should be rocking throughout the next 10 games. Lot to do on our pregame coverage. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus a little bit later we talk with DH Trenton Brooks, who not only is in the Padres lineup today, but also grew up So that'll be good to hear from Trenton. We'll also, like I said, catch up with Eduarniel Nunez, who made his major league debut on Wednesday for the Padres, and much, much more to do. We'll give you the starting lineup when we return as well. Much more coming up on our pregame coverage on this July 4th here in America's finest city after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Meadow Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch is coming up at 3:40, series opener between the Padres and the Texas Rangers. Right-hander Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Rangers and right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres as the Padres begin this 10-game homestand. Lineup for the Padres today looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Jackson Merrill in center field batting second. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Luis Arraez at first base batting cleanup. Gavin Sheets in left field batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting seventh. Trenton Brooks, the DH, batting eighth. And Martin Maldonado doing the catching and batting ninth again with Randy Vasquez on the hill. As we get ready for today's game, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
We start off with the 4th of July and just your thoughts on the celebration and also being in the city of the military, your thoughts on the military and what they provide for us.
Yeah, you know what? It's July 4th, so that means you should be playing or at a baseball game. That's just America, right? And so, it's really important because our freedom is based on our military. a huge military town, obviously in San Diego, which I'm very, very grateful for. The way we honor our military, and I'm so super grateful for the presence that allows us to go be free and go play baseball. So just one of the best holidays, outside of Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's my favorite.
How good is it to be back home? Long road trip. Great to be back in San Diego.
Gosh, Monty, man. The more you leave here, and listen, we're grateful again to go and play baseball regardless in the big leagues. But you come back, it's like, whew, this place is just magic. So, yeah, it's great to be back, especially for a nice 10-game homestand.
Yeah, and it seems like even more so for this club and the way the fans have been so supportive of everything. The incredible energy. It's got to boost everybody up.
Yeah, it's huge, man. This fan base is hungry. It's very passionate, it's very supportive, and it rubs off on us, and it elevates our game, I believe, for sure.
Any update on you, Darvish, Berger, Michael King? What can you tell us about their progress?
Yeah, all of them made good progress. One by one, so starting with Darvish, really good live batting practice that came out of 61 pitches, I believe. And now we're just determining what the next steps are for you. But he's getting close, so that's good news. Berger, good side the other day. He's going to go out, and I think it's going to be on Sunday. He's going to throw a rehab game. It's either going to be Sunday or Tuesday. So he'll get back on the mound probably in this 55, 60 pitch range. And Michael King's doing good. This is as optimistic as we've been. We're still guarding the optimism, but all the things that we're looking for consistently are showing up relative to just lack of pain. He's been pain-free. His arm's moving. He's got more strength, more consistent strength. He's able to increase his throws, his intensity of his throws, the distance of his throws, and he's been able to recover. So Michael's, trending in a better direction. So all encouraging.
What are your options for Sunday?
We have, a lot of options, quite frankly. So I wouldn't think Darvish is a coin flip. My guess is probably not. We have a bullpen with 9 guys, but we're also would be in game 3 of a 10-game stretch consistently. So, that's probably not likely either. And we have some guys that, you can do your research on that could come up and potentially grab a start from the minor league side.
Has Darvish thrown a bullpen since that?
No, and I haven't seen or talked to Darvish about it, but it'll either be today or tomorrow, which will affect the next day, next time he throws.
Berger, rehab, do you know where that will be?
I don't. I know there's some thoughts, but I don't know anything final.
And there was obviously a lot going on Wednesday, but Nunez, you guys called him up and he made his debut. What can you kind of say about his role and what you're looking for with him?
Yeah, I thought good for him. Congratulations. Making his big league debut. I thought he did fine. He's got a really nice arm, hitting the ball well. He's, fastball slider guy with a lot of life on the heater, and the slider's got a lot of late break as far as roll goes. It's relative to, today we're coming off a day off, so everybody's pretty fresh. So he'll pitch in a situation down or up somewhat, significantly, and then kind of ease him into it. But we give him this 10 days, and guys start to get more used, and he could show up in the 6th with a 1-run lead. So it's be ready to pitch.
Mike, obviously the Rangers team you guys don't see very often, and a young guy on the mound, Kumar Rocker. Just what challenges does that present? Facing a team you don't see very often, and a pitcher there's not a lot of familiarity with.
There's challenges to it. There, both sides have those equal challenges. The lack of familiarity, but I will say this, and it's a good opportunity to share just how well we prepare on a consistent basis in the organization. We've done a nice job, and we talk, and we're very intentional about making sure we're buttoned up in every facet against teams we're not as familiar with. And then also with that, we talk about making sure we're communicating, being better as the series goes, and having constant dialogue about what we're seeing. So, listen, we're not as aware of them. We saw some in spring training. We saw Kumar a couple of times in spring training. We'll be ready.
Obviously, Wednesday, Fernando moved back to the leadoff spot, had 3 hits, a couple runs. Just what do you see from him when he's in that spot? Is there a little extra something there when he's batting leadoff?
I don't think there's anything extra there. I just think he's a good player, and it's a good spot for him. I've said this: he can really hit anywhere in the lineup, and we could feel good about it. Wouldn't feel great if he was hitting 5th or 6th, but he can hit anywhere in the top 4 and impact the game. And thinking about the other variables of the top three guys, just from a competitive standpoint, I like him, him and Jackson at the top. But again, it's fluid.
Luis Arias obviously is an unconventional cleanup hitter type. It's an interesting dynamic. What have you seen from him there, and what works?
Again, Luis definitely a guy can get anywhere. 3 batting titles. But if there's somebody on, a lot of guys in front of him that have extra base power, a couple of guys that can steal a bag. Manny's got some bags this year. So we're a hit away from scoring relative to where guys are. And, for some reason we go 1, 2, 3, we got a leadoff hitter starting off in the second inning getting Luis Arias. So, it makes sense. He's a good contact RBI guy. So it works.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for this series and homestand opener against the Texas Rangers. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Rangers. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We take a look at the hot category. We put Xander Bogaerts in there today. He continues to swing the bat really well. Xander batting .426 in his last 47 at-bats with 8 extra base hits and 7 runs scored in his last 13 games. Luis Arias in the not category today. He went 0 for 4 in both games of Wednesday's doubleheader. It's so rare to see Luis go 0 for 4 in general, and he went 0 for 4 twice on Wednesday in Philadelphia. Arias had been swinging the bat real well before that, but 0 for 8 in both games of the doubleheader combined on Wednesday. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not. Now let's take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you Around the Horn, presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues. Cubs righty Jameson Taillon was placed on the IL earlier today with a right calf strain, the team announcing before their game against the St. Louis Cardinals. Cubs manager Craig Counsell said that Taillon is expected to miss more than a month, so a significant pitching injury for the Chicago Cubs. Remember, the Padres hit Mick Abel hard, and he was not great against the Padres on Wednesday in Philadelphia. Well, the Phillies responding by demoting the rookie right-hander to AAA Lehigh Valley. So Mick Abel no longer a part of the Phillies rotation, at least for now. Orioles reinstated outfielder Tyler O'Neill from the 10-day IL earlier today. He had not played since mid-May. And finally, Nationals placing right-hander Trevor Williams on the IL with an elbow strain. Williams gave up a season-high 7 runs in 3 innings on Wednesday in a loss to the Tigers. So Williams, who the Padres saw not all that long ago, he is on the IL again with an elbow strain. And that's a quick look at some headlines from around the major leagues on this July 4th. When we come back, we'll give you our keys to today's game. We also have a conversation with Trenton Brooks, who is in the lineup for the Padres today, DHing. Trenton grew up in Alpine, so we talked to him about July 4th here in San Diego. Much more to do as we get ready for this series opener against the Texas Rangers on an absolutely gorgeous Independence Day here at Petco Park. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park on this July 4th here in 2025. A happy Independence Day to everybody out there. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It is a beauty here in San Diego. Sunny sky. Clouds to be found. Hope you're enjoying a day at the beach. Maybe you're on the grill. Maybe you're hanging out in the backyard. Whatever you're doing on this 4th of July, hope you're having a great holiday and getting ready for some Padres baseball as they begin this 3-game series against the Texas Rangers. We'll hear from new Padres reliever Eduarniel Nunez coming up in just a little bit. We'll also hear from Trenton Brooks, who is DHing today for the Padres, our keys to the game, and a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup between Randy Vasquez and Kumar Rocker coming your way as well. First, let's give you the latest on the Padres injuries.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, we heard some of this from Mike Shildt in our last segment, but to recap a couple of items, Yu Darvish, the Padres continuing to determine what next steps are for you, Darvish, and it sounded like there was a possibility as far as a couple of days ago that Darvish could pitch on Sunday. You heard from Mike Shildt. He described it as a quote-unquote coin flip as to whether Darvish could pitch on Sunday, but then he continued on to say, as you heard, after he called it a coin flip, he said, my guess is probably not. That's what Mike Shildt had to say about Darvish pitching on Sunday, so it didn't sound overly optimistic, to be honest with you, but we'll see what the next steps are for you, Darvish. Ryan Bergert, as you heard, the plan for him is a rehab game coming up either Sunday or early next week. So we'll see what the update is over the weekend on Ryan Bergert, when and where that rehab start will come. As far as the Rangers, just a note on them, and this is not an injury related note, but their center fielder, Evan Carter, was put on the bereavement list on Monday. He was activated earlier today. Had been playing really well before Monday, batting .368 in 17 games before being placed on the bereavement list on Monday, but he is back in the lineup today for the Rangers playing center field. And that is a quick look at our injury report on this Friday, July 4th, as we get ready for this series opener between the Padres and the Rangers. And you look at this Rangers lineup, certainly Evan Carter, good young player in front of him. A lot of guys you got to keep an eye on. Josh Smith, the good leadoff hitter. Corey Seager batting second. Marcus Semien batting third. Adolis Garcia batting cleanup. And Carter, Jonah Heim, who's a nice catcher. The Rangers come in a game under 500, but a lot of names to watch out for in this Rangers lineup. Well, right-hander Eduarniel Nunez made his major league debut for the Padres on Wednesday. During the doubleheader, came in relief, and certainly quite the accomplishment for Nunez to come up from AAA and make his major league debut. Here was Nunez inside the clubhouse earlier today alongside interpreter Jorge Merlos.
What was your reaction to being called up and then making your debut?
¿Qué fue tu reacción cuando te llamaron para llegar a las grandes ligas y cómo te fue en tu primera salida?
Bueno, mi reacción fue algo que, o sea, yo no lo puedo explicar porque en verdad me sentía muy emocionado por la llamada. Y la primera salida me sentí un poco nervioso, pero después pude controlar.
Yeah, I mean, when I got the call that it was going to be my major league debut, I was kind of shocked. I don't really know how to explain it, really. I was just kind of in awe. And, my first outing happened, and, I felt a lot of emotions up there.
For your first outing to be part of a doubleheader, I think you probably guessed that you're going to be getting in the game. Did you like getting into the game action right after you had been called up?
Claro que cuando era la doble jornada de ese día, pensaste que ya ibas a entrar en un partido. Sabes que te gusta así, que ya sabes menos mal que vas a entrar ese día. O sea, después de que te llamaron, ¿no? O sea, el día después.
Sí. O sea, me llamaron, pero cuando yo llegué, ahí fue que yo supe que suspendían el juego. Entonces, para el siguiente día, allá yo ya estaba un poco consciente que pues, tenía chance de pichar porque había doble juego.
Yeah, I mean, I got there the day before the doubleheader, and that's when I realized that, or when they told me that the game was going to be suspended. So going into the following day, I kind of realized, oh yeah, I got a pretty good chance of coming in today.
You really took off at AAA. What clicked for you after the promotion or to lead into the promotion?
¿Qué era la clave ya cuando llegaste a AAA? Parece que las cosas ya se estaban funcionando mejor para ti. ¿Qué era esa clave cuando llegaste a AAA?
No, yo confía en mi picheo y atacar a los bateadores temprano.
Yeah, it's just really becoming confident with my pitches and really attacking the hitters as much as possible.
That was Padres reliever Eduarniel Nunez inside the clubhouse earlier today alongside interpreter Jorge Morelos. And we'll see when Nunez makes his second appearance for the Padres out of the bullpen. Would be, if he does appear on this homestand, his first home appearance in a Padres uniform. First pitch coming up at 3:40 here at Petco Park. Series opener between the Padres and the Texas Rangers. Let's give you a couple of quick keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one for the Padres offense, runners in scoring position. Padres were 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position in game 1 of Wednesday's doubleheader. They were 1 for 5 in game 2. So that was a combined 3 for 14. Not terrible, but not stellar. The Padres are batting just 117 in 60 at-bats with runners in scoring position in their past 8 games. Bottom line, in order for the Padres to win consistently and win on this homestand against some pretty solid teams, they have got to be better with runners in scoring position as a unit. That is key number one. Key number two, slow down the Rangers offense. You'll look at the overall numbers for the Rangers offensively this season. They're averaging 3.8 runs per game. That ranks only 25th in the major leagues this season. However, they have been a lot more productive lately, plating 48 runs in their last 8 games. That's 6 runs per game. Rangers have also homered in 7 straight games after hitting 2 home runs in their prior 10 before this most recent 7-game stretch. A few hitters, like we said, in this lineup you got to watch. Marcus Semien has hit safely in 8 straight games. He's hitting .348 with 6 home runs, 22 RBIs in his last 30 games. Corey Seager is slugging .690 with 5 home runs and 10 RBIs in his last 11 games. And since June 1st, Josh Smith is hitting .323 with 20 runs scored in 24 games. And wouldn't you know it, those 3 guys I just mentioned, Smith, Seager, Semien, the top 3 in the Rangers lineup. So as I said, you have got to really keep an eye on the top of this lineup. They're swinging the bat well right now, and don't focus on the overall numbers for the Rangers offense because they have been a lot better as of late. So limiting that Rangers lineup here today, that's key number 2, and that's a couple of quick keys to today's game. When we come back, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, plus I go one-on-one with today's DH, Trenton Brooks. We tell you what to watch for in today's game, and a full breakdown of our pitching matchup between Randy Vasquez and Kumar Rocker. This series opener against the Rangers coming up at 3:40 on this July 4th here at Petco Park. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 3:40 between the Padres and Rangers in this series and homestand opener. It is a gorgeous 4th of July here in downtown San Diego. Hope you're having a great afternoon, settling in for a great evening, maybe getting ready to enjoy some fireworks, whatever you're up to on this Independence Day. We appreciate you spending part of it with us here on the Padres Radio Network. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres today. Right-hander Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Rangers. We'll break down that starting pitching matchup in just a little bit. First, let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Well, Subway Series in New York today, beginning a 3-game series. Mets and Yankees. The Mets trail 5-3. They come back to win it 6-5 against the Yanks. Jeff McNeil, a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 7th inning of that one for the Mets. The Cubs beat up on the Cardinals 11-3 at Wrigley Field earlier today. Reds beat the Phillies in Philadelphia 9-6. The Red Sox beat up on the Nationals in a game that started this morning at around 11 a.m. Eastern time. Red Sox won it 11-2. Games going on right now, a couple of them. Rays lead the Twins 3-2 in Minnesota in the 7th inning. Mariners lead the Pirates 6-0 in the 8th inning in Seattle. Everything else is coming up in a little bit or later on this evening. Angels and the Blue Jays in Toronto at 4:07. Tigers and the Guardians in Cleveland at 4:10. Brewers in Miami against the Marlins at 4:10. Orioles and the Braves in Atlanta at 4:15. White Sox and the Rockies in Colorado at 5:10. Astros and the Dodgers in LA at 6:10. Royals against the Diamondbacks in Arizona at 6:40. And finally in Sacramento, Giants and the A's at 7:05. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday, July 4th. Well, Trenton Brooks, the kid who grew up in Alpine and certainly has a lot of ties to the San Diego area. He's back in the lineup today for the Padres, DHing and batting 8th. He's done a nice job so far for the Padres off the bench. And when he's been in the starting lineup, hit some balls really hard in Philadelphia. Didn't have a whole lot to show for it. I caught up with Trenton Brooks inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Trenton, happy 4th of July. Growing up in this area, what are your memories of Independence Day here in San Diego?
Yeah, happy 4th of July. 4th of July is a big deal. Going to the beach as a kid, it's super crowded, fun time. Obviously time to spend with family. It was great.
You a big hot dog guy, hamburger guy? What do you like to eat, put on the grill 4th of July?
Hamburgers. Throw a little, some hot dogs out there, maybe a steak. Who knows? Just depends.
All right, to baseball. Obviously, now you've had a couple of weeks here with the Padres. You're getting some fairly regular playing time. How do you feel about the way it's gone so far?
Yeah, just trying to take it one at bat at a time. Some bad ones in there, some good ones in there. Just trying to be, embrace the role, take it pitch by pitch, and be ready to go.
You mentioned embracing the role. Obviously, when you're at AAA El Paso, you're pretty much playing every day, and this is a little bit more on and off. How do you adjust to that at the major league level?
Kind of like I said, right? I think it's a mentality. Embrace it. And be ready to go when your number's called, and do whatever you can in that specific moment to help the team win, and whatever that is.
Obviously, this isn't your first stretch of facing major league pitching, but as you face more guys at this level, what do you kind of notice about it as you get more extended stretch?
Yeah, obviously it's different, right? Yeah. Big league pitching versus minor league pitching, but at the same time, right, there's great pitchers everywhere in baseball, and guys making their way up, guys that have been there for a while. Just really, the game's the same. Control the strike zone, swing at good pitches, try to hit the ball hard.
With a guy on the mound today like Kumar Rocker, a guy that most of the guys in this clubhouse haven't seen before, what's the kind of approach against a guy like that today?
I think same thing as usual, I just said it, but, control the strike zone, swing at good pitches in the heart of the plate, and, try to do some damage.
Well, Trenton, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Good luck today.
Thank you so much.
That was today's DH, Trenton Brooks, joining me earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. You heard me say there that most of the guys inside the Padres clubhouse have never seen Rangers right-hander Kumar Rocker. Well, in fact, nobody in this lineup has ever had an at-bat, plate appearance, let alone against Kumar Rocker. So it will be a brand new guy the Padres have never seen before on the mound today for the Rangers. We'll talk more about Rocker in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in this series opener.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game? Does Jackson Merrill continue to show a little bit more discipline, or maybe the better word is patience at the plate? Merrill walked a career high 3 times in Wednesday's first game of the doubleheader. He's now walked 13 times in 64 plate appearances since June 9th. Keep in mind, he walked only 8 times in his first 164 plate appearances this season through June 8th. We know that Jackson's a guy who likes the swing. And since June 9th, if you look at some of the numbers, he's cut down just slightly on his swing rate on the first pitch, but he's trimmed down his chase rate on the first pitch as well. He's gone 4 for 10 in that span since June 9th when putting the first pitch in play. So Jackson has been just a little bit more selective lately, and it seems like it's leading to more walks, but also a little bit more success on the first pitch when he does swing at it. So keep that in mind today. See how Jackson approaches Kumar Rocker and this Rangers pitching staff. Jackson playing center field and batting second for the Padres here today. And shout out to Kevin Acey. He had a lot of good info on Jackson Merrill and his patience at the plate earlier today, or yesterday it was, in the San Diego Union Tribune. Let's break down this starting pitching matchup. It's Randy Vasquez against Kumar Rocker.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres today, 26 years old. He's 3-4, a 3.84 ERA in 17 starts so far this season, 84 innings and a third. Last start against the Reds in Cincinnati, 4 innings and a third, 4 earned runs given up on 9 hits. Vasquez had been really solid before that, a 2.53 ERA in his previous 4 starts, including 7 strong innings against the Royals in his last start at home. Randy has generally been better at home than on the road, a 3.14 ERA in 8 starts at Petco Park. He has a 4.5 ERA in 9 starts on the road. This will be Randy's first career start against the Texas Rangers. Meanwhile, 25-year-old Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Rangers. Rocker was the Rangers' 3rd overall pick in the 2022 draft. That was after, remember, the Mets selected him 10th overall the year prior, but the Mets didn't sign him after reviewing his medical information. This season, 9 starts in the major leagues, a 6.13 ERA, 39 2/3 innings. Spent time in the IL in the first half with a right shoulder impingement. Now, those overall numbers are a little misleading into what Rocker has done lately. In his first 6 starts, Rocker had close to a 9 ERA, but in his last 3 starts, he has a 2.20 ERA and has struck out nearly a batter per inning. His last start against the Mariners, he was really good. 6 innings, 2 earned runs given up on 4 hits. Lefties have hit Rocker hard, a 356 opponent batting average, 983 OPS, and 100 plate appearances against Rocker this season. From the left side, righties are batting 240 against them with a 621 OPS. So keep an eye on the lefties today against Rocker. Lefties have had a lot of success against the Rangers right-hander. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup today. Kumar Rocker against Randy Vasquez. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody. Happy July 4th.